So, hello everyone. We welcome you to the live lecture series, which is going to be conducted today, right now. So, yesterday we had one section on English. If you need recordings on that, you can please visit our YouTube channel. So, we are here with the important sessions of drawing, which will be related to CAT exam, that is creative aptitude test of Nift entrance exam. So we will be discussing some important questions, important strategies of drawing session. So here we are with one of our main faculties, Shantanu sir, with us. So not much a delay, we can start our session. Before starting this session, I would like to inform that host, can you please change the screen? Okay, thank you, host. So today there will be a quiz competition which will be related to Nift mock test. So kindly be a part of that. The quiz will be starting from 9:30. The link of the quiz will be shared in this YouTube channel chat box. So kindly be a part of that. So not much delay, we can start. Sir, am I audible for you?
Yes. Hello, everyone. Hi.
Yes. Okay, sir, shall we start?
Sure, we can go
Okay.
ahead.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Okay. Hello, everyone. Hi. And host, thank you for the lovely introduction. Hello, everyone. So today we are gonna discuss few things, the last moment things about before your exams. What all things that you can take care of while you're working on your drawing part for that particular exam. The uh, the major topics that that are related to your drawing section, and something that uh, the time frame that you should maintain for working on these questions. Also type of questions that and what kind of a level of intensity that you should uh, resolve those questions. Fine. So without any further delay, I'll share my screen. So like before directly going to like solving the questions directly, uh, what I want you guys to like give you few things that as a what you should practice, what all you should do. uh, just a moment. Okay, I hope whatever I'm trying to draw over here is visible and it is seen. Okay, let me know if, and guys, whatever questions that you have, you can ask me. Like I would try to answer them. Okay. So like few thing is like what you should be careful about when you are drawing and provided in question papers. Like whatever the question, sometimes that you are provided with whatever, I mean, you don't have to bother about the orientation of, anyway, you guys have to upload the so you don't have to really all the time work on the orientation like this. You can just simply you know use the different orientations of it, and you can work on this one rather than and use the orientation very carefully, whatever the way you are drawing things. Second is be confident about what you are trying to draw, what you are drawing, as in you know uh, so first of all, what you can do is like draw lighter. Try to avoid eraser as much as you can. Be confident with whatever the line that you are drawing. If you are not confident enough, use a lighter pencils probably, so that you don't have to use eraser much. So even though like your bottom lines, they go like scribbly a bit like this, but yeah, later on whatever that you are drawing on top of that can be more confident. So basically the planning part, whatever the planning part that you are doing, you should do it with a lighter pencil, so that you're not wasting a lot of time on erasing those things out. And it's okay if the construction lines and things, you don't have to keep erasing them all the time. You can keep them as it is, rather than just plan what are the other things that you are drawing on top of that. So just be confident with whatever line strokes. Okay. And try to be you know uh, 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 like with your strokes, don't try to break a lot of, don't be more scribbly. So this shows a little bit of uncertainty and and non-confidence, the lack of confidence in your sketches. So rather than like do a lighter drawings and whatever lines, just be confident about that. Be confident about whatever the shapes and things that you are using. In Nift exam, you might have to use a lot of colors and things. So like before, I would suggest like keep a rough paper with you, okay, or like at least look into a color theory very specifically. So whatever the themes and palettes, color palettes, like complementary, split complementary, just go through it once. Go through that particular uh, topic just once and read the things, see which colors complement each other. Because in during your Nift exam, there might be a lot of questions that they would ask you, probably to draw something, make few compositions and color them as per the theme which would be given. So you should be confident about your colors also. So whenever you are like suppose you have putting colors in this, be confident, like just keep it in this, do not spill over and things. So be crisp with whatever that, because you might have a very few or less time to create things. Be confident about the shapes and things that you are drawing. Next is like probably if there are certain questions like which involves bit of perspective or figurative drawing, you don't have to yeah, definitely we are going to solve some of the questions, but there would be a few questions that would expect you some figure drawings from you guys. So for that, you don't have to go into a lot of details, because see, this is not something, we don't have to draw a lot of realistic things over here. Okay, we just have to we have to give a thematic expression to that figure, and and to show that we are aware about, like we can draw, we can suggest the proportion of figurative drawings to this, and we have full confidence, or we understand the scales and proportion very bit properly. So it's something, so we don't have to like get into like we go draw each hair separately. You don't have to do that. It's just one or two three lines, it would be sufficient enough. Okay, so first of all, like when you are drawing this, the scale that you're drawing it in is very important. So I will just speak about few things very quickly. So if this is the frame, this is a frame that you are drawing your figures or things in it. So like you should understand like what should be the proportion. Now the figures can't be this small, that would be too smaller. So rather than like at least one third of that proportion, that would make some sense. So probably figures of maybe this size would make like at least which are in focus. And probably yeah, definitely like the one that are going behind or probably going very far away can obviously like go to the smaller extent. Yeah, so just be careful about the scale and proportions that you're planning to. So also if you are like working on if there are some um, sketches or questions that are based on where it requires for you guys to show some details in drapery fabric. So that is something probably you should draw it very properly. For example, now is a lot of kids might be appearing for like fashion and what. So I'm not drawing the entire details in the figure, but yeah, I'll just try to show you like how you can maybe work on that part very quickly. And guys, whatever questions that you have, you can put it over here, and I'll definitely try to answer. There is just a second. There is one question. I'll just read this. Uh, yeah, so it's a very interesting question. Somebody, Madhuri, has asked, so what is the frame limit? Yeah, there is no particular limit, but I would suggest you like probably A4. This is the A4 size. What I am trying to work in here right now. I think this is a good proportion. Now this proportion, like probably can be anything. Like like anyway you have to upload. So you can be wary about the proportion. So it can be something. It can be smaller. All that you have to like suppose. Generally, what I tend to do is I keep a, a margin. Like suppose I will not draw it in the complete page, but yeah, like suppose this is my A4 page. Okay, so is suppose this is my A4 page. What I would love to do is like I generally leave some margin, you know, not actually drawing it probably, but probably I will not draw anything over here. So automatically this like becomes a good scale, good margin to this. Okay, so generally yeah, A4 whatever. I mean, you can work on a A4 paper. You can work on a A3 also. Work on whatever that you are comfortable with. So this is, I think, a good size to work in with. This propose these are if you're using landscape, probably these are very interesting proportions to work with. Fine. So you can keep yourself restricted to this proportions maybe. Okay, rather than going square and all. So see, you never know like where your drawing is gonna be seen. So you would want to be be careful about that. So like before this, I hope I answer your question. Okay, so next thing would be like we were talking about few more details in the figurative drawing. Okay, so if you are not confident enough to draw figures, okay, you can simply get into a very quick whatever the kind of a view that you wish to draw in. What I would do is just quick geometrical. I think this everybody can get into this, like this suppose a very geometrical uh, kind of a figurative approach to this. See, it can be just to start with, I'm just drawing a little slow since I'm I want to give this experience of understanding this particular figure, or uh, it can be very simple. You can just use, if you are not confident enough with a lot of organic shapes, you can just quickly do this. Like I'll just show you the process very quickly about this one. Okay, and sometimes it happens, right? Like we are not confident, we tend to use a lot of eraser if we like we get conscious about few things, and then you can just simply use sticks for hands and things, and then later on you can do massing about this. So you don't have to like really worry about how to use figures and things. So be confident about what you are trying to draw, then it's just probably a massing later on, like or you can simply be uh, confident about like from the beginning you can use uh, this kind of a stick figures. If you are confident, like rather than you can switch to some organic shapes like this. Yeah, so you can just design the entire experience of probably the figures in sticks in the beginning, and then once you are done, you can get into a bit of, if there is a particular action or a particular maybe a dynamic pose that is required in a particular frame. So we can actually design that. We can actually think of it and slowly uh, go towards understanding that particular part. Okay. always think of, like what, where you are approaching with, this one. So later on, so after this, I'm going to speak about probably, the clothing in the figurative drawings. Okay, it's just simply, it can, you don't have to like be, uh, you know, uh, be conscious about, what is the pose now, how do I draw hands, and how do I draw leg. It can be simple, you can go with a simple approach towards, you know drawing figures in this way. Then probably what you can do is, like, you can go about, then, if you suppose it's a the character is a lady, and probably she is wearing a drape, maybe something like this. So you can just work with this. There is a flow to this, and this is how you can, design things very interestingly. So this whole idea is to this is practice this. Okay, so simple curved lines, you see, I would just suggest you. So this is the drape. Okay, like this is how. Right. So this is something, this goes inside. So obviously this won't be visible. So, like we would try to just get rid of this. Okay. So this is something like a curtain maybe. Okay. So this is how, if you are seeing it from a top view, obviously this would be seen. Okay. And this won't. So like probably we'll just draw things like this would be seen. Like suppose if you are seeing from top, uh, and these are the drapes that would be seen. So this is a fabric that is getting curved. Okay, so the same thing, you can apply in curtains, drawing things. Like if they ask you to design curtains, you can just go with lines. So understand the shapes, lines, and just connect to this. Okay, so it becomes very very easy to draw. Then probably later on we just have to think of this as, just work with simple shapes. Okay, you don't have to just rectangles, maybe, you see, just another rectangle. And then, okay, if you really, have difficulty over this, probably just use something like a kind of a full sleeve, so that you don't have to all the time think about drawing the hands. And so you can confident smartly avoid a lot of erasing and a lot of time into this. And probably we can just draw and share the exam, as an experience of this figure drawing. Okay, and with the facial details also, you don't have to go into so much of, basic detailing would just be enough. Okay, something like this, sorry, this much. Okay, so you don't have to like really bothered about like what all details that are supposed to go in this one. Okay, so liquid, just draw it here, so bit bigger. Maybe. Yeah, so we're not getting into a lot of lots and lots of detail. It's just simple. Yeah, so you don't have to get into drawing each and every line separately and understanding things. So you can rather understand it into different shapes and make it more easier for you to draw things. So yeah, Nift is an exam like where like probably such intricacies, like probably this kind of a details would be expected from you, and probably people would see it with more keen interest, and probably would follow that more. Okay, so pay attention to what you are drawing. How are you rendering, how are you sketching, things like that. So these are important. Next thing is, like before, like obviously we are gonna discuss about few questions that have already appeared in exam. but these are some quick tips that I want to give you, like to show and represent things very quickly, and so that you are not getting into a lot of details and investing a lot of time in drawing something. Fine. So there are a few questions I would just like to read about them. Can we use scale in the CAD? I would suggest, nobody should use a scale. So rather than keep it freehand, rather it's better. Okay, obviously if there are some patterns and motifs, okay, you can carry a scale with you, but I would still suggest drawing freehand. It's always better, because the moment you start using scale, right, so you are restricting yourself to a lot of things like dimensions and things. Rather than here, they would want you to understand these proportions. So like, do you have a visual perception for understanding scale or not? So I would definitely suggest you go without, don't use scales in this one. Fine. So this is one. Next I want to discuss is about like, how do you show different surfaces very quickly? How do you, like, even they ask you to color it, a lot of time people go into like, go color this. Okay, so I would love to show you a few tricks about that. This one. So there are just a couple of questions students have placed. I would just want to read that. So do we have to write about every drawing question? No, not specifically. Some questions they ask you to, like, obviously if there is something about related to design. Now if they ask you to design some purse or design some pouch or design some fabric, or they sometimes ask you to design a certain product, they would definitely ask you to have some write up, okay, in few sentences. So like, what is this particular concept about, what does it do, okay, how it is different. So rather than writing about that design, it is your thought process, it is your thought about that particular design they would want to know and understand. So writing about your own design is it is a must. Okay, so you don't have to be very elaborate about things, so you can be short about it, be very genuine and very specific in few sentences, maybe few words, uh, for that. And you should not have long essays, it should be like 3 to 4 sentences. Just consider, and please, whenever you are going to solve any question, right, read it properly. So because they mentioned, they must have mentioned this, if you have to, and if you need to write something to support your design over here, like your thought and probably the visual, if they are going together. So if you are explaining something, so it should be very short and very um, you know very brief, in very few words. Fine. So let's just speak about surfaces. So I will speak about, in terms of, rather than getting into very complex thing, I would just speak about some basic shapes, basic forms and basic things. And I'll just speak about this too very quickly. Okay, just a second. Okay, rather than getting into too complicated things, I personally prefer to work with a lot of basic shapes, and make it, suppose now this is any product that you are working on, and they even ask you to color it. Now the moment they ask you to color it, it is not necessary that you need to like flood this opt uh, to go like this. It's totally okay. Whatever is a smarter and faster way, so you should opt for that. So I would go for is a crosshatch, maybe because this is the faster option for me. You see, we are just quickly done with this, and we are able to show different values also. Now suppose I'm just putting one kind of a value over everywhere. I'm just gonna work on it and show you. Okay, so probably now if there is a light falling on this one and it's darker, so I would just opt for bit darker value to this. Okay, and maybe, so this is the way I'm able to show this is more darker. than this one, and this surface that I'm working on right now, this one is darker than this one. Okay, so we are able to understand this surfaces very quickly. So within few movements, like, you would be able to show how it is gonna look, and the properties that the surfaces it would have. Second is, you go along with the surface. Okay, so for that I'm gonna show you something else. Just a second. So this is, like, if I want to have more darker values in this one, so what I would do is I would add more lines, but I would get done with this very quickly. So because generally, see, we go with some certain colors and things, so we generally go, like, push a lot of pressure in it. We tend to ruin the paper, as well as it takes a lot of time. And with this thing, right, we are not able to get a very gradual value also. Okay, sometimes it goes lighter, it it gets darker, and things like this. Okay, so rather have a very unified value. So what I would just suggest you is, like, because this is very fast, okay, very quick, so you can save a lot of time. Totally, and definitely it is your choice. If you have a knack of coloring and things, if you are fast enough, you can, you definitely go and opt for the other thing. Now next is, I want to show you is, uh, you know like, how to go along with the surfaces. Okay, so probably now it can be, like, used, this particular method can be used anywhere. Now suppose this is a cylinder, and it's in a top kind of a view, and okay, it looks something like this. Okay, now how would I render this? I can simply go along with the surface. See, along with the surface, as in I'm just defining its surface. So it would rather emphasize on the surfaces of this volume, whatever that we are trying to. So you can go along with this one, yeah, as a surface. So it becomes more easy to understand that it goes along in this direction. So along the direction, shading or line can save a lot of time, as well as it defines this particular pattern very quickly. Okay, so please, some idea about, great great question in online exam. They asked to draw, will ask us to draw greed. Okay, greed. Okay, okay, fine. Let's. I'll speak about that, because I have few questions to speak about as a composition in my mind for your session today. So we'll just be quick about that. Yeah, not necessary. You have to draw the grid every time. I'll be very quick about that, and I'll show you, like, how you can simply do this. Okay, so we'll just finish this one, and we'll go quickly to the next question. Okay, so now this is, like, suppose now cylinder is let down. It is horizontal, and probably what I would do is, yeah, get it. So it becomes very easy, and also, see, fine. So what I was just trying to do is, rather than shading and things, we're just using a few lines. I've just overlapped to make it more darker. So we are not actually making the line darker. All lines are made with a similar pressure sensitivity and things. It just, like, they coming closer would form the darker band, staying away would create a lighter band. Okay, just simple and fast technique would help us to make us understand this particular surface too. Okay, any subject for that matter. Okay, so we can just work on this very simply, and we can be very quick also while we are working on this concepts of showing surfaces, whatever design. Okay, so this is one thing. Now somebody is asking, like, necessary, sir, if not mentioned in the question, the color drawing, can we leave the drawing just by doing pencil shading, or is it necessary to no? If they have not mentioned that you have to color, don't go for coloring. Don't waste a lot of time on that question. So like only do it like if they ask you to color, or if you think that particular product. So see, this is also not shading exactly. What are we trying to do is we are just putting value so that one understand that this is a bet, it's a cylinder. So now if I see, if I'll just show you very quickly about this one. So what if I draw this? What do you understand by this? I mean, one doesn't understand that it is, probably a flat surface, or like, is there anything that is, what if I, like put it like this, maybe. Now this is speaking very different, and the lines that are on there, like it speaks it's a very different thing, right? So then later on, not just lines always help sometimes, but yeah, maybe just the tonal values, correct tonal values. It's not shading, it's just to, we are trying to show that that surface of this object is spherical, okay, it's curved, okay. So this is what, simply we can speak about few things while we are drawing it, okay. And in fact we should do so, always work on and tend to refine one idea for someone, okay. The idea, the experience of looking at one thing should be complete for somebody, right? One should understand it totally, okay. Then it is not necessarily important to color property, important to color property every part in the, yes, no, not necessary, not necessary. So be smart about it. So I am not opted to paint any of this is already no, because there is going to be light and it's going to be bright. So just showing the proper value, okay. So not necessary at all to work on, every part of the drawing. You can just leave few things for people to experience or understand and interact with that particular part. Fine. Great. Now let's, I think we have spoken about now this particular question. uh, so just opt for, opting for appropriate values and things would actually set us any particular question very properly for us. Now let's speak about another question, that is, I'm already opted for this one over here. Yeah. So now it is based on a lot of things that we have already drawn, and based on the question. Now generally what they would do is, like, they would give you some image or particular visual, and they would ask you to draw something else, like probably they would mention the topic also, or sometimes what they do is they give you the theme and they ask you to draw it accordingly. Now here what they have been asking you to draw is, there are two human figures or two animal figures, or there is one animal and one human figure, okay. So and the whole question is, like, we are supposed to draw it along with this particular question, okay. So what I'm going to do is, like, let's just off for, to draw this one, okay. We'll just select this, and at the end, see, you just have to caption it properly, okay. So we can definitely do that. Just a second. Just a moment. Sorry guys. Okay, so see, fine. I'll just keep this. So see, now anytime probably why I'm speaking about this particular question is for you guys to understand the composition, because now this time you have to work on your own, and you need to upload the question, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to speak about like how would you, like, if a certain question, now if they ask you, they give you a particular product, and like things around it to compose. Now since we have already one visual, I'm just going to speak about how do we compose things. Now they had actually asked us to, probably like having two human figures, either two animal figures, or the combination of both. Rather than like we would opt for one human, one animal kind of a question. Okay, let's just understand. So now the simple thing is would be, so the whole understanding with this one is you need to understand the scale and proportion with this one. Okay, so probably let's just understand like with this. So this is generally the triangle that like how it works out. Fine. So what we generally is required for you to understand is how the proportion and scale would work on this one. Okay, so I'm just going to show you how to compose, to put a compose on this one. Now suppose there is one particular figure that is maybe just either sitting on bike, idle probably. Sorry guys, I just moved. Okay, so we'll just work on so what I would just do is okay, so working on the stick figures, and probably the leg next over there, over here, like probably it has come down for to rest, maybe, there's something like this. So once we have understood this, like probably we can design the total experience of this one. Now probably there is a figure, so probably why this guy would like maybe may stop, or probably now like we have a very interesting thing that we seen in maybe in India only. Yeah, so there's a lot of cows on the street. Probably one is like has decided to sit over here in the center of the road. Okay, so see, we are just trying to create very interesting things with the compositions. Okay, so go with the basic shapes, just so you would be able to create anything without any complex. Sorry, get it. So we can be pretty simple about a certain compositions. And okay, so you can be simple about what you are trying to create with this. It can be without just basics, with just simple basic shapes you would be able to create kind of whatever the complex things, and you just add bit of values in this one, you would be able to do this. Okay, here we would just add some of the things already that we did, right? So composing with basic shapes, you see, we would be able to create, we don't have to also draw a lot of things, like probably making person wear helmet would resolve a lot of things. So I would do that. Yeah. Yeah, maybe something this has happened like every day possible, right? So maybe yeah, we've just done this, and no need to add like a lot of things, probably just to like add some if they have asked, some of the things in the background, so that it is, like probably a situation that one can relate to. Fine. So like a roadside scenarios, like probably there's some auto rickshaw and things like dodging this one and going from the other side. Okay, either some car or that is there behind this one. Okay, so you can just work on the day-to-day basis kind of a compositions. So be open to things. Okay. How if somebody says, sir, how can we overlap the bike by human figure? The pencil sketch won't be visible on the painted ink figure. See, basically, right now you won't have a ink figure, right? So because you would have to draw everything on your own. You don't have to, because you would have to draw everything and upload it, right? So probably this is not a situation that you would have to worry about. Probably they would just give you everything to design. Okay, so probably you will not have anything like printed, because you have to make everything on your own this time. Correct. So anyway, so this is how you can work on the composition part very quickly. I would just share one more question with you. Just give me a moment. So related to more of design uh, kind of questions that appear in okay, with which more just a second. I would I'll share my screen once again with you. Just give me a second. Yeah. So I hope you are able to see the question. Okay. So there is particularly, draw the process of any one of the following into the four-step sequence in the four boxes given below. Is a folding paper into a paperboard uh, uh, and replacing an electric bulb in a holder. Okay. So whatever the question, so you have to create a sequential drawing for that. Like for somebody, like suppose is not aware about the particular process of changing the bulb, or somebody is not able to understand the process of making a paper board. Okay, so simply like how would we create that? So we'll look into this kind of a question. So here they have given you just a four, probably right now they will not get this, but they would ask you a question like this. Maybe you are supposed to do it either 4 to 5 different frames or 4 to 5 boxes. That means you are supposed to resolve this particular process uh, in 4 different steps. Okay. uh, yeah, so just a moment. Uh, so we'll draw it. Okay, let's go back to the drawing board and let's understand the entire process of drawing paper boat into 4 different steps. Okay, so the question is a paper boat. So probably like few prerequisites about sequential drawing. So what is sequential drawing? Sequential drawing is basically to provide information probably very in a systematic manner or in a particular process or in a particular flow. So maybe few frames, or like a illustration. Like suppose if you have seen a Maggie wrapper, okay, like something like this, like behind this there would be a smaller 2 to 3 steps that would be given to you. So like first of all there would be something like breaking that piece of Maggie, then putting it in a bowl and probably cooking it for 2 minutes and ready to serve. That kind of a illustration. So this is sequential drawings are basically the illustration or the process drawings made easy, provided to make easy, or probably for us, to make some information understand very quickly. Okay, so now the information is like we want to have a paper board folded, uh, and the process of it, like how we can provide this particular thing. For like suppose this is a illustration that you have to make for a children's craft and crafting or origami kind of a book. So you have to provide this information in 4 steps. Now we will try to draw. So for the paper board, like we need, let's keep this information side. Okay, so as a key sketch, let's work on the next thing. Now all we need is, first is like we need a square paper. Now because see we have a limited number of frames to show this entire thing to work on. Okay, so we have to like jump, or we have to combine few steps together, but not too many, so that the whole idea gets confusing. So what, like first of all we will try to understand the entire process very quickly, so that we can plan it. The whole idea is about planning. How do you plan it? So first is like you have to take a like a square paper. I would just draw it over here quickly. Then what we generally do is like we fold it here, we fold it here, so that we get is basically a square piece, something like this. Now when you see this particular thing from this side, it looks something like this. There is like few papers are flimsy, and probably this is kind of a stack that you see. Now what do we do next is like basically we fold this over here, and we fold few of this on the either side of this. Okay, so all we have to do is now we have to draw this very properly and show this. Now next thing is we would get is a shape something like this. You must have observed, you get it something like this. Now what you do basically is like if you see seen it in 3D, it would be seen something like this. Okay, it has seen something like this. Now generally what we do is like we push hand and maybe pull it, and we get is something like this. Okay, the moment we pull this, okay, we start getting the shape of boat, something like this. And the moment we are pull it completely, okay, so we get is a paper boat, something like this. Now if you see, we have done a particular process. Okay, how many are there? See, 1, this is some 2, this is 3, and this is 4. Okay, we have already arrived at 4, but now probably with this we have to manage this 2 3 steps together, something like this. Okay, so how I'm gonna plan it, like let's keep this the entire thing as a key sketch, because this is what the planning part, and probably this is what is gonna teach us. Now probably what I like, my first frame will always be something like this. So what I've done is take a square paper. So without any script or any text, one should understand that it is a square paper. Okay. Next thing I'm gonna do is like probably a fold. Okay. So fold are always supposed to be in dotted. Now you must have observed few craft origami and craft book already, so you would have definitely some idea about this. Now what I want to do is like I want to show the steps. Okay, first you fold this on this axis. So this is 1, then you fold it on this axis maybe. Okay, so what is that? That is 2. So that leaves you over here. Okay, this particular thing, right? Another square that you get maybe. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is like I'm going to keep it very moving and kind of information. You see, now what we have to do is like 1 2. Okay, so that leads us over here. Okay, obviously, right, we would get is a, or simply like we can show it little bit like this. Fine, sorry, not this one. We would just get is this, because yeah, because we have folded this few papers over here, and that is why we are seeing this. So now we would do is like put this and pull this. Okay, so obviously show it properly in 3D. And fourth step would be, now what I will do is like already show it something like this. Right, so okay, and fourth, like probably without any steps, so what I would show is like some contextual image, maybe something like this. This is not a step, but yeah, probably it's like you tell people enjoy, or something like this, or maybe walk on. Very geometric, right? So this is what also just trying to be to reflect that uh, reflection of this boat maybe. Okay, so yeah, within 4 steps we are able to show this. Fine, so this is how the drawing can be done. Okay, so this is something about sequence drawing, right? So now how do we represent this? How do we present this is something. So put numbers properly, okay, to every step. If they are in straight line, nothing like that, but yeah, so once if you have this, like you can simply define it, just a moment. Yeah, simply define this over here. Not needed, we'll just take this off. Okay, it's a part of this, so maybe we will just keep it with that. Okay, so simply like we can just work on this particular part as, just a second, I'll show you like how we can represent this particular thing. Okay, keeping some interesting space with this, then probably if we are just making boxes, like maybe even one like this. Okay, so they have a proper frame. The one who's reading that is going to read it like this. Okay, so make sure that you also put that sequence very properly. Don't keep things like second year, third year here, or fourth year and second year. Okay, so it has to follow a particular sequence so that it becomes or it stands in front of eyes and very easy to read, that kind of a thing. Okay, so speak about the process, the flow, and the drawings has to be very crisp and clear. Okay, so here you don't make smudgy and things. You can be very illustrative about this one. Okay, drawing lines maybe proper bold for the interiors, not for the interior, sorry, but just the exterior lines. Okay, something. Now see, this idea can be defined something like this. So I'm not working on the lines of the interior, but yeah, just trying to show that idea bolder. Now this one can go something like this, you see. So we are just trying to show that illustration pretty bold. So work on this. Now here you don't go all sketchy and all. It has, the line drawing has more weightage. Okay, how specific and how prominently you are able to show one particular idea, it is it is gonna be helpful. Okay, so let's work with one more question. I hope you have understood this, right? So please work on this one in this fashion. Okay. Now next one is let's look into another question now. Okay. Design an interesting handbag. Okay. Now this is something very interesting question. And probably you suppose you should expect such kind of a questions more in NIFT exams. Now what do you have to do basically? Now the question is, design an interesting handbag that anyone from the following, or now what they have not given you a design, they have given you an occasion, probably a situation from which you are supposed to pick a theme, and accordingly you create a design for it. Okay, so now let's look into a few things that they have given us. That is going for a wedding, going for a picnic, going for shopping, and draw the color. Now see, they have already mentioned like you have to use color. Okay, draw a color and detailed sketch of your design within the box given below. Describe your design in 4 to 5 sentences on the adjacent page. So you just have to write few things about your design. Okay, so why have you designed it in this way? Now probably let's work with this particular one first thing, right? That is going for a wedding, easy ending. So like probably we have to design a handbag. Fine. Now handbag, first of all you need to understand the definition of a handbag. When once like somebody says it's a handbag, it comes up with a certain shape, certain size, certain volume. So one needs to understand that properly. Okay, so how are we going to work on this one is, let's just understand. Just a second guys. Okay, let's, okay. So now somebody was speaking about the grid and thing like earlier. So now nobody's going to give you grid, but how are you going to create one for yourself? So I'm going to speak about that. Okay, so now we're going to speak about question, that is a to design a handbag. Okay, handbag, and the theme for it is like we are going to a wedding. Okay, so now what all flavor this particular handbag should have, that is what is more important. Okay, now let's just understand a particular brief. Now also we need to understand what is a handbag. So I would just look into a handbag. Maybe it's a, no, it's not a satchel. Okay, probably it's a handbag. Okay, so for wedding it would have some interesting shape or something. Like I don't mind at all. Maybe simply it is even a square. Okay, so what if this particular thing is a square? Okay, and like more rectangulish, and it has to be more elegant. Okay, like probably something like it has, you need to have some that wedding kind of a vibe to it. Okay, so we will work on that. Now the before like we get into this, what kind of a things like what what weddings have, basically let's try to work on that. Let's try to brainstorm bit about it. Okay, so generally what I do is like the theme that I want to explore, I write that word in this center very quickly. Even like I have a 5 to 10 minute time for to brainstorm or make a small research on myself or to start up some about something on based on my observations and things. So this is how I would try. So wedding means like probably interesting nice clothes. Okay. Basically now there are different types of weddings, so culture is very important. Okay. So now that would give you some different visual. This will give you some visuals. Now like probably the shoes, okay, whatever, I mean interesting things, like bangles, whatever. So you can go. So is something like blingy or sparkly, whatever, and it gives you this suits or probably bright colors. Okay, bright. Now some cultural patterns like the handprints and things like. I think Hina is something unbeatable in this one. Okay, so I would work on lot of things like this. Then probably cultural wedding, like food is something like unbreakable part of this maybe. Okay, so we would work on this now. Like makeup or probably bride and groom. So I think without them, okay. So that is something you know. Uh, it is completely though. Then next is like music. I think some musical instruments would do, and some culture, they just show some that different way, like bride is going off from her house to like, so that whole idea can come up with a certain visual, right? So maybe, yeah, we just speak about few things. So now we can just actually pick up 3 to 4 from this one. Okay, so what I think is very prominent, I would like to, and generally you can take anything, but I will take 3 to 4 prominent, probably things from this one. Is this maybe this one, like that gives me a certain visual. I would take this because I find this more interesting. Let's take this one. And okay, probably, yeah, let's take this one. Okay, and like what else, like how we can differentiate these things. So now what I've done is I've taken, I'm gonna work on this few. So it's a bridegroom clothes and okay. So I want to depict the entire theme of wedding on this one. So that is my one thing is, you know second is, I think, I forgot. I just mentioned clothes. Okay. Now this can bring you the crazy thoughts and crazy ideas. Okay. Let's start with this one. Now, I can simply like what all visual now, like what all visual things that appear to you. Okay. Like probably different patterns of, like maybe now this can be, just I'm very bad at this, like talking about patterns and all, but yeah. So it's just like, it's just we've seen whatever scene, I would just draw that over here. Okay, so some patterns, like where do you draw this? Like probably why not, drawing just the hand gestures maybe. Okay, two hands and things. So we are understanding this. So this is some simple visual, or maybe we can go intense about this one. Okay, so now this one can speak about some makeup. Okay, makeup, some interesting watch, and like this. Or simply it can speak about you know some, our groom has, how they're distinguished, basically. Okay, so something like this. And bride is just fine. So now we can work on, like we have some visual dictionary to work on this one. Now with this, like probably we'll just draw few, I don't know, just trying to come up with something. Fine. So now, probably these things can make it look more interesting. Now, what I want to do is like create a composition with few of these elements. Okay. So now, how would we? Okay, I don't want to. It's looking a bit creepy. It's just probably this much. Okay. So probably fine. So we want to work on with this visuals and create a theme for. I'll just keep this over here as a key sketch, and let's start working on this one. So now what I want to do is I want to create a grid for myself. So okay, so let's just okay. I, what I would do is like simply create a grid for myself. Okay, like maybe a squarish one. Nothing, you don't have, like it can be freehand also. Okay, you just don't have to bother about this one. So first of all, what I'm going to do is I'm quickly going to create a pattern, and then we can just superimpose that on a uh, on a bag or something. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is like just gonna use a 45 line in this one. Okay, so that I'm able to create a grid. See this, I'm just drawing it with very freehand and not bothered about it. So done. So this is something like we have already worked on. This is a oblique, or you can create isometric grid for yourself. So you don't really have to bother about this one. So what I'm going to do is I just have brought down a grid over here earlier. I'll just pull that. Okay, probably just take this much. Fine. So, and we already have our key sketch. Now, sorry. Okay. So let's just try to create some interesting pattern with the help of. So we have already drawn this. Okay. So don't worry. Just simply square square. You can just create this grid with freehand for yourself. Don't worry about that. So somebody had asked the question, would they give us a grid? So this time nobody is gonna give you anything, because you have to upload whatever that you're gonna do. So you have to create and like grid and whatever if you wish to. So this becomes easier, right? So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna show you a couple of options to like we can work on this. Now what I'm gonna do is like probably use this uh, uh, this particular grid in an interesting way, so that I'm just gonna so so this is what I'm speaking about. Okay, so so this is one thing I found that is quite interesting. So that speaks about the maybe a flavor of this. So this is one particular square that speaks about this particular pattern. Now I want to okay, let's draw a little bigger so that uh, we are able to understand properly. So I'm just gonna use this grid. You see, nothing very difficult. Same thing. Okay, next is I want to use, now I don't know like what I'm going to create in this one, but I'm going to create one more grid over here of the square. Okay, and so let's create something in this one, maybe. Yeah, uh, some pattern which looks like this. The this maybe this kind of a pattern over here. Fine. So this is one. So I'm just gonna just a second. I'm just gonna work on few things like 4 to 5, which speaks about this as a pattern. Okay. Or simply you can go like this also. It doesn't matter. It's totally up to you. Okay. So probably now let's work on for something like this. Okay. Let's just create that over here. Or maybe this looks something very interesting. So I would create that. Fine. What else? Like maybe that gesture of hand. Let's try to create that. Maybe we'll just work with this 4. Okay. You never know. I mean, what I'm gonna. So we have already done this. I think we have used all of it. Like we just have to cloth we have not figured out yet. Okay, so let's just do that. So maybe something that is more okay. So this is the pattern maybe that is we see on the clothes. I'm just drawing that. Fine. Okay. So now quickly, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna opt for colors. Okay. So which generally makes you know, for this kind of a. Okay. Now I don't mean to like working with a proper color palette. I'm just quickly, drawing these things. So, there might be just a second. I'm quickly want to depict this. Okay. So just give me a second to just probably finish with this one. Yeah, maybe something like this. Yeah, probably. It's just randomly putting colors. Okay. I'm just showing like one pattern, one tessellations, that I'm gonna create with this one. Now something of okay. So I've created this particular grid. I'm just gonna make this work. Okay. You can work on the patterns and things that you like and make it work. Okay. So anyway, so this is a particular grid or pattern that I have created for myself. Okay, let's just, okay, so fine. So now what I'm gonna do is, like, even if I copy this, you see, you will be able to create a very interesting kind of a pattern. Okay, maybe, yeah, I'm just showing you, like, how you can create probably a tessellation to create a bag. Now probably let's just understand. Now suppose this is a size of a bag, okay, and this is a bag. Now we just want to, okay, this is a probably, let's just put some color to it. Okay, now this is a bag that we want to work on. Okay, uh, sorry guys. Okay. And this is something that we are working on. Now I want to use this, this particular pattern for, sorry, sorry. Sorry guys, there's some lag. I'll just finish it very quickly for you. Okay, so now what I want to do is I want to work on this one particularly. Suppose now this is the bag that we want to work on. Now this is one pattern. So just populate this. Okay, you see, now we have created such an interesting and quick going pattern. Now we would just use all of these three and work on this one. Okay, so see, we are able to populate this entire thing. Now you can leave some space also if you want. Okay, so like creating just one pattern and tessellating it would be very faster. Also it becomes, sorry, it becomes quick. See, so it's just one pattern we have been able to work on so many things very quickly. Get it? Okay, so we're done. We have created. Now let's just define this bag now. Okay, so you see, this is like probably a platform that we have created. Okay, now what I want to do is like create some interesting elements for this one. Maybe I would do that. Okay. Okay, fine. So this is maybe something that I want to create. Maybe I'll just put it white right away. Sorry. Okay. Maybe this is something like the void or thing that we want to use and create this one more. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is probably is this is like something like a ring or in this one, and we would like to, maybe just a second. Okay. Maybe something like this, or simply it can be a ring also. Totally your call. How do you wish to, sorry, delete this? Oh, this is something like a small ring within, like this, the pattern, or something like this. Now we can just simply create very interesting, sorry guys, I'm just trying to be quick with this one. Maybe, just add some interesting elements to this and we would be done. And probably, you can also design an interesting strap, whatever that suits, maybe for this one. Okay. Accordingly. Yeah. Maybe something like it can work something like this, which like probably a brass or something, So what I'm gonna do is, fine. So yeah, you can just work on this exercise, probably particularly like this. Okay. So and you're good to go. You're able to create. No, it can be versatile. You can go more into designing this, more detailed probably patterns, and you're able to, we would be able to create very interesting patterns and designs for. So look for more patterns that would take you for, closer to your subject, and you can design it accordingly. Fine. So I think if you have any questions, you can go ahead, you can ask. uh, we can discuss, we can take your questions now. Yep. So this is how we would be able to design things like this. Okay. Yeah. Somebody has asked, sir, can you give some ideas about poster drawing too? Okay. Okay. So it's another topic though, but yeah, just to quickly speak about it. Uh, okay. So posters, something I would just speak about the discipline in poster design very quickly, not to elaborate. We just have, uh, I think just 5 more minutes to work on this one. Okay. So first of all, portrait, always keep it in a portrait mode. Okay, don't use landscape, especially when it comes to portrait design or poster design. Okay. Okay. So idea is you always keep it, uh, uh, you know, divide this very interestingly, like into the one thirds or something. So where, and keep your visual, which is has to be very stronger. Okay, so keep it in the center. Maybe keep a good, interesting spacing from all the sides, so that your subject is emphasized directly. Okay, uh, be specific about, don't be, don't use too many different types of stylings in letters or something like this. You just use one. Okay, so maybe something, like suppose this is the visual. Okay, so it has to be in the center, and so that it is seen from a distance. Also, it has a good emphasis on it. Okay, so visual that can be in center. So even if you have some text aligning it, use it very interestingly. Keep it something that, that always stays focused on this one. Because see, like whenever you see a poster from a distance, now this is the visual which is going to attract people and make them come closer. And then whatever that you have, suppose it is something about a poets club or something, whatever the entire poster is about it. So keep the alignment nice, keep things, aligned in a center, or in a way that the information is distributed nicely. It can be seen in one go, one stretch. Then secondary information, where is it, what is happening, what are the timings, if there is a particular name to this. Okay, yeah. So it just, how are you going to put it? Like maybe like everything is monotonous, but just probably, the subject that you wish to speak about has its, uh, it's trying to pull the audience with the whatever. Okay, so use that. So keep your visual, first of all, keep your visual in the center alignment. Okay, uh, visual should have more importance than text. Okay, don't put text everywhere, like just keep it very symmetrical. If you are keeping it, it should be just a header title, or even if you don't have anything over here, it's fine. It can just be over here. Significant boldness, or it's totally fine. Like, you know keeping it emphasized a bit, it's fine, but more focus should be on this one. Fine. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna create, you know sorry. Yeah, so this is something where, you can put emphasis on things. Right? So this is what, easily you can um, uh, do a poster quickly. Okay, so what all things are important is, just to like speak about those again. Probably it would be just a second. Is, like how the central alignment is done. Okay, it should be nicely in the center, so it is visible from multiple places. Rather, it is, and we are keeping this white line, this buffer line, is because we want to stand. If there are a lot of poster here and there, we would want to stand, apart, or better than this other posters or other visual that they would be placed next to us. So this buffer would help to understand our visual better. It would take a focus to this. Okay. And see how the poster works is, once you have the interesting visual, people would be attracted by this. They will come closer, and then you provide this information. Okay. So it's like you don't have to like provide everything at the like writing it so big. No need to do that. Keep it bigger, keep it the biggest, so that it captures people's eye, and it brings them closer, and then you provide this information. Okay, so this is how an effective poster can be designed. Okay, fine. So I think just again, there are a couple of questions I would just read about them, so can give some idea about mascot design. Mascot design. Sir, can you please conduct one more session? Explain out the perspective drawing. Sir, can you give an idea about perspective drawing? We can't color text. Yeah, something about a poster, you can use colored text, color, but yeah, just you make this most contrasting. So like you should focus on your work. Okay, so that is one thing that can be resolved prominently. Can you give some idea about mascot design? Mascot design is something, like, again, it would be another tangent, but yeah, it's something like a branding character maybe, or that helps your branding, supports your brand, and takes your brand into a public and takes it closer. That can be funny, like it can be serious also, like, for example, you know uh, there are a lot of activities, or things they opt for, such kind of a branding strategies, where you have a certain character, and probably that goes in public, and you're remembered by that. Okay, like for example, that McD's, Mr. McDonald's, so probably a guy, like a joker maybe, so yeah, probably. So something to remember by. Okay, so that is what is a mascot. You can simply work with, a character. Okay, so probably that speaks for us. Now that can be not just about the brand, but particularly there were, like, events like, Save the Tiger, and kind of a government or forest activities, or uh, some campaigns. So you have to design a mascot for that. Obviously you can design a mascot that looks like a tiger. Yeah? So fine. So you can be fun. You can have fun with, while you are designing a mascot, like probably a guy. Yeah, maybe. Just whatever. I mean, you can just have fun with, while you are working on uh, things. Okay, fine. I think that's all. I think we can actually, there's a lot of topics to discuss, but yeah, we can actually work on them. Think the basic topics here first. Okay, and then, you know so you can design mascot accordingly. Fine. I think I'll stop here. And I wish you a very all the best for your exams. And yeah, just pay attention to the details, read the questions very carefully. And yeah, you would be able to crack it. Wish you again the very best for your exams. Please do attempt all the questions, draw things very carefully, and be smart, be and make a proper choices for solving questions. uh, be be attentive while you are reading them. Okay. Try to be more add more and more context uh, to the particular topic. Try to show the flavor of the current scenario or current context to it. It would be a lot helpful. Okay. I think we can stop here. It was thank you for joining, guys.
So
I'll
thank you,
take.
sir. Thank you so much for
Yes.
having that wonderful session. So guys, in the upcoming days also, we will come up with some other interesting topics, even in the CAT section also, and also in the GAT section also. In the upcoming days, we will have such interesting session on CAT related topics, the drawing session, and also the GAT related topics. So I think you have mentioned some other topic also, like mascot design and perspective related classes. So in the upcoming days, we will come up with more interesting session on that. So thank you, sir. Thank you so much for that wonderful session.
Thank you so much for inviting me. We'll see you guys soon. Take care and best wishes. Bye.